Well, after months of delays, the conviction of President-elect Donald Trump is now formalized, cementing his status as the first felon to hold the office of the presidency.
Trump was sentenced today in the hush money case, receiving an unconditional discharge for 34 counts, felony counts that is, of falsifying business records. Alice Gaynor was in the courtroom for the sentencing when Trump spoke in court today, which the judge also allowed audio, so we can hear all of this. And Alice, what did you hear?
That's right. And as you mentioned, the president-elect appeared virtually, so that was pretty unique. At times, he appeared to be looking down, possibly taking notes. He folded his arms across his chest and shook his head as prosecutors spoke. The sentencing lasted around 30 minutes or so, and as Christine mentioned, we could not take video, but we will play you some audio. In it, you hear the judge, attorneys, and Trump himself. Though the president-elect was not at the courthouse, outside, his supporters and anti-Trump demonstrators gathered.
This specific case is very upsetting.
You probably have the entire justice system in his pocket when he takes office.
Upstairs on the 15th floor, appearing virtually side by side with his attorney, President-elect Trump addressed the court.
I'm totally innocent. I did nothing wrong.
In May, a jury found Trump guilty of 34 felony counts of falsifying business records to cover up reimbursements to his then personal attorney for a so-called hush money payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels in the days before the 2016 presidential election.
Legal fees or legal expense were put down as legal expense by accountants. They weren't put down by me.
Defense attorney Todd Blanche.
It's a very sad day. It's a sad day for President Trump and his family and friends. But it's also, in counsel's view, a sad day for this country.
Prior to sentencing, Judge Juan Merchan indicated he was inclined to sentence Trump to unconditional discharge, and today both parties agreed that was the most appropriate thing to do, given the circumstances with Trump's inauguration looming.
The only lawful sentence that permits entry of a judgment of conviction without encroaching upon the highest office in the land is an unconditional discharge.
Judge Merchan explained the legal protections afforded by the office of the chief executive overrides all others, but also noted,
despite the extraordinary breadth of those protections, one power they do not provide is the power to erase a jury verdict.
Prosecutors told the court the author of the probation report who interviewed Trump wrote,
"The defendant sees himself as above the law,"
and that,
far from expressing any kind of remorse for his criminal conduct, the defendant has purposefully bred disdain for our judicial institutions and the rule of law.
Trump shook his head when prosecutors spoke about the guilty verdict. Judge Merchan ended with this.
Sir, I wish you Godspeed as you assume your second term in office.
And Trump's attorneys say they are appealing the verdict, Christine and Doug.
All right. Hard to believe we're finally come to this day, Alice. I know the judge said that this was an extraordinary case. What else did he say about it?
That's right. He was noting, obviously because of who this defendant is, and the heightened security, the unprecedented media and public interest, he said, that was what made this such a big spectacle. But he also noted that once the courtroom doors closed, this trial was no more special or unique than the other 32 criminal trials taking place at the very same time in that criminal courthouse. I mean, the same rules were applied here.
Well, still, it's quite a thing you witnessed today. And Alice, thanks for taking us inside the courtroom.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
and our
Alice.
coverage continues on our website, including more details about what was in the courtroom, what was said inside the courtroom, plus a timeline of last year's trial. That's on CBSNewYork.com.
Also, the president-elect inauguration is just 10 days away now, and I will be live in Washington, D.C. to bring you coverage of the ceremonies right here on CBS News New York.